Brace, do you have power?
Yeah, I got plenty of power. I'm actually I'm doubled up today.
Yeah.
I've got every
How
socket.
many monsters did you drink?
Several, but
Have you
every
ever had a
socket in
Monster?
my house has a strip on it, and there are at least 4 things plugged into each.
Surge protector.
Yeah. Well, no, mine don't surge protect. It's just a power extension strip. So if there's a overload or something like that, it will explode it. But yeah, I've got several utensils that women use in the kitchen. I've got laptops. All my neighbors are there.
Just everything plugged in.
I've been DJing all day. Been remixing.
Well, because you got to use all the energy now in case you don't get it later.
Are you out of power?
My power went out for a little bit, but it's back on. So I'm not in the. It was like just a neighborhood blackout, but not part of the like forced blackout.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, California is in the dark. It is.
Yeah, it's really bad. Also on fire. It's not in the dark because it's just lit by fire.
Yeah, true. It's also warm. There have been a couple of fires, it looks like, in the past few days that are still going.
Yeah, there's the big one up in
Kincaid.
Yeah, basically like Santa Rosa, Healdsburg, like right outside of Healdsburg. Watch out, French Laundry.
Oh, yeah. God, where are we going to have dinner then?
All those wineries, just
I know.
up in flames.
I got to call my guy.
And now you saw the Richmond.
Yeah,
bridge.
The fire jumped the Carquinez Strait.
Which is insane. I don't think people understand how insane that is.
That's like, I don't even know how to explain it. That's like jumping from Manhattan to Brooklyn.
The fires, when I was in LA and that massive Malibu fire happened.
Yeah.
I remember when it jumped the 101 and everyone was like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because it was just, and that's when it started rolling basically down the cliffs and down into the hills.
Last time there were all these fires, a lot of my coworkers, not a lot, but I will say several of my coworkers came to me and said that they were, believe they were started by laser beams.
Okay. I think that's true.
It is? Okay. So
No.
you also agree.
No.
Well, I think
What does that even mean?
there was like this Instagram video that was saying that laser beams started the fire, and I'm pretty sure that PG&E put that out there and like, whoa, we're just asking
this is
questions.
like some Kyrie Irving shit.
I don't know who that is, but is she a laser person?
No, she? Oh my gosh. Praise.
Kyrie is a woman's name. Unless it's like a Jamaican thing.
He's a basketball player.
Oh, well, okay.
He believes in flat Earth, but he's walked it back since.
Yeah.
He puts a magic eye, Illuminati eye, as like his Nike logo.
Oh, that's kind of weird if you're not for it.
Yeah, he's space cadet of the highest order.
But yeah, so the fire has reached, like the East Bay. So probably by the time this comes out, we'll be dead.
Don't say that. Oh my God.
You'll be dead.
I'm going to be shacked up in your apartment, with all of my belongings.
Okay.
You can fit like a bunch of furniture in your apartment, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Easy.
I have one of the biggest flats in San Francisco. I call it a flat. I'm rich and European.
No, it's fucked up. Like PG&E is just, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, well, they're not fixing the fucking power lines.
No, they got to pay off all their executives.
So
first.
for our European listeners, California is the westernmost state in the U.S., except for the other two, I guess, Oregon and Washington, and it catches fire every year now because our power company is just this like private monopoly that doesn't fix the power. Which I wouldn't fix if I had a power company. I probably wouldn't fix the power lines either, but I don't.
Well, the thing is that when the whole Enron scandal happened, the state didn't do fucking shit, and basically PG&E learned that the state was never going to do anything.
Yeah.
And so they completely, ignored like massive infrastructure issues, paid off all their executives. Then they get sued, these like massive class action suits for starting fires because of negligent infrastructure. They get, settlement tossed at them. So instead of paying, they just file bankruptcy
So smart.
to get protection from the creditors.
Yeah.
And now everyone's like, well, there's nothing they can do. They went bankrupt. It's like, no. They didn't go bankrupt. They're not bankrupt.
Yeah.
They declared
have money.
bankruptcy.
They charge me money
so
every
they don't
month.
have to pay victims.
Yeah. Yeah, and now their stock prices are going down like to, what is it? They say it might hit 0, which if you're out there, buy when it hits 0. Because you will get, that's a free stock.
No, don't do that.
You can buy, you could technically buy at the company. If I'm reading this correctly, it would cost you $0 to get a controlling share in PG&E if you could just buy all the stocks for 0.
I don't think you're reading this correctly. But I will say that fucking lame-ass dork shill governor, Mr. Gavin Newsom.
Who, by the way, his ex-wife is being fucked by Trump's son. Well, because they're married. But it sounds worse if I say that.
It does sound weird. Is she the Getty? Or no?
No,
maybe. He's close with the Gettys. He's all up in the Gettys. Anyway. But he's like, oh, Warren Buffett, will you buy PG&E? He said that last night or something. Berkshire Hathaway, come buy PG&E. No, Gavin Newsom, power of the purse.
Yeah.
Eminent domain.
Give it to a state agency.
It's time to expropriate.
Yeah, you can just take it.
Just take it.
It's ridiculous. You can literally... PG&E doesn't have armed guards. There is no way that California could just send the National Guard there, take the power lines, and then we could blame them for our state burning down every year.
Yeah. Well...
Yeah.
Methinks Mr. Newsom does not care.
No.
So
he can suck
but
my
perhaps
dick.
it'll be another fucking governor undone by California power woes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Who was... Oh, and Gray Davis.
We got Gray Davis,
Yeah.
who then gave us the governor.
Yes.
Bankrupted the state.
You know what we need?
Stay tuned for more about how much I hate California.
You know what we need?
What?
We need a deep state in California.
What if instead of... what if we go by the law of tragedy farce, if Governor Schwarzenegger was first tragedy, who do we get next?
Sarah Connors.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Come in. Jeffrey Epstein.
Welcome. Well, I'll come. Welcome. No, it's not.
Come on, come all.
We've got a fucked up episode coming.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Should we say hello?
No.
Okay.
No, let's say hello. Say hello.
Hello. Welcome to TrueAnon. Your weekly TrueAnon. I'm Liz.
I'm Brace, joined by producer Young Chomsky. We've got some shit on. If I was a DJ, I would not have one turntable, not two turntables. I would have 6 turntables around me, a finger on each, spinning like those people who spin plates on sticks. Because, boy howdy, we got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's a real mashup. Remember mashups?
Yeah, I still make mashups.
That was such a thing for a while.
That was fucked up.
What was that one guy's name? Girl Talk.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Greg Gillis.
I think he was
That was a
from
bit-
Pittsburgh. Because
I
my
kind of-
buddy Vinny, I don't think liked him.
I think I knew him. Well,
Yeah.
we don't need to get into that.
You
That's
knew
kind of
him?
an embarrassing time.
What
in
year was that?
music.
It was like 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2010 or so.
That shit
Yeah,
sucked.
yeah.
That's like...
That was like the like they kind of like tried to like make Electroclash a thing again.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool though because it was anti-copyright.
Yeah, I guess, but those copyrights should have been more strongly enforced by execution. Yeah, you and I were doing Electroclash back then, so I don't want to hear any of this from you. We had an Electroclash night at the Knockout, so
No, we didn't.
okay, that was a different Liz Franzak I DJ'd with for 4 years. The Knockout doing Electroclash every Sunday at 7.
Oh my god, that's such a lie.
All right,
I'm gonna
yeah,
sue you for
I'll
libel.
post the flyer in the
I did
comments to
not.
this.
I'm not a DJ. I
You
only dated
DJ'd
DJs.
you made hundreds of dollars a week.
Remember the '90s shit too?
Yeah, that shit all sucked. Music only got good again like 2 months ago when that 17-year-old girl on Xanax started making music.
What?
I don't know. I've never heard Billie Eilish, but I'm saying that's.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Let's talk about a pedophile. Speaking of 17-year-olds.
Okay, so before we get into our topic of the week, we've got some news to go over.
Start us off.
So there's a Channel 4 documentary. Channel 4 meaning
The fourth channel in the UK.
in the UK. Yes,
Yeah.
Channel 4 UK.
We have like 100 channels in America.
Yeah, no, we've got way more
This
channels.
is their fourth and final one.
And the first channel, you know what that is?
It is the secret channel that only pedophiles can
No,
watch.
the water.
Oh,
channel.
yeah. Okay. That's very
thought that was
charming.
cute.
That was a charming joke.
Anyway, Channel 4 documentary on Prince Andrew, aka Randy Andy,
Yes.
and obviously Mr. Jeffrey Epstein.
And it seems to be mostly drawn from the Virginia Jeffrey Johanna Joberg testimony. In fact, it seems like it's almost entirely drawn from that.
Yeah, so full disclosure, I haven't watched it, but saw some clips, read some quotes and some transcripts, and to be honest, I'm sure it's, it's good. I think anything that, focuses on Prince Andrew is good.
Yeah.
But it seems to kind of hash out a lot of stuff that we've already...
Yeah, if you've listened to TrueAnon, you know all of this already. I mean, we've gone over these quotes before. Should we read a couple of them out or what?
Yeah. I mean, oof,
We don't have to.
it's pretty... The third time I had sex with Andy, I can't get over how she always refers to him as Andy.
He said to call him Andy.
I know, with his little puppet.
Yeah. Oof.
The third time I had sex with Andy was in an orgy on Epstein's private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Obviously, we know all about that island. I was around 18 at the time. Epstein, Andy, approximately 8 other young girls, and I had sex together. The other girls all seemed and appeared to be under the age of 18 and didn't really speak English. That's actually an interesting little detail.
Yeah, and we should actually, after you say this, I got something to say.
Epstein laughed about the fact that they couldn't really communicate, saying that they are the, quote, easiest girls to get along with.
So, that horrific quote aside, it seems to me pretty clear that those are Brunel's girls. The Jean-Luc Brunel, Epstein's associate and quote-unquote modeling agent guy who would go to these sort of Eastern European countries and South American and it appears, at least on some occasions, South Asian.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And recruit / kidnap young girls via his contact, by the way, at the State Department. He would get them visas and passports,
Yeah.
which that's pretty wild.
Yeah, getting a passport for an underage girl who can't speak English, getting them an American passport is pretty wild.
I know. It's so hard sounding to do.
Ugh. Yeah. So there's a couple, without going into the details of the sexual activities I was forced to endure, there were times when I was physically abused to the point that I remember fearfully thinking that I didn't know whether I was going to survive. So it's pretty brutal. Apparently, Andrew is quite alarmed by this airing in the UK.
He's got the Duke shakes.
Yeah.
The Duke has, this is a quote from the Star, the Duke has been fairly relaxed up to now. He's starting to shit himself. It's become the biggest story in the world, and he's at the heart of the coverage.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Good riddance.
Yeah, buy the ticket to the pedophile ride. Wait, buy the pedophile ticket, take the pedophile ride.
I mean, the thing with me and the whole Andrew stuff is that I'm like, okay, scum of the earth, who care? Big hashtag, who care?
Yeah.
Get him out.
Put him
but
on the
also,
ground.
it's like the royal family is clearly saying, like, throw Andy under the bus. And I'm saying, no. You got to look at the whole family.
Exactly. Yeah, because they're like, all right, well, Andy's the sin eater for the family. Like, let him go, get him.
Exactly.
But the royal family is perfectly capable of covering this up in the news in the UK. I mean, it would be child's play for them to do something like this. And the fact that they're not, I think it's like, all right, yeah, pay attention to Andy. He's not like us.
Yeah, this is like, what I've always said about Martin Shkreli. Is that how you say his name?
No, I was actually confused. I think it was Martin Shkreli.
Whatever.
Shkreli? Is there like an
know.
apostrophe in there?
That's after his conversion. Anyway, I can't say things,
Yeah.
but I still like to talk. No, but his crime was basically just being an asshole and everyone finding out about what he was doing. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, what he did jacking up the price was horrible, but him going to jail is what allowed the industry to keep on going.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like the same thing with Madoff. It's like you have these kind of, sacrificial lambs
Young, vulnerable men.
that you all of public outrage is directed toward them, and it's what shores up the power of the entire industry to continue apace.
That's a quote. This is a quote I kind of formulated a couple weeks ago, which is the big lie covers the little. Wait, the little lie covers the big lie. I
What?
formulated that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Braced.
Shkreli went away because he cyberbullied Lauren Duca.
Duca put him away?
That was you didn't.
I do remember that.
He severely cyberbullied Lauren Duca, and that's when.
Didn't Eve Pizer become famous for matching with him on Tinder or something?
Yeah. Eve Pizer just likes to hang out with rich people in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about my ex-girlfriend anymore.
Anyway, so back to the story. My whole point is don't get seduced by these little lambs that the pedo complex is throwing out there.
Definitely don't get seduced by any of these guys. Yeah.
Brace, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on the prize, which is what we're trying to do at TrueAnon.
Don't stop until all of them are locked in the London Tower with a bread and water diet.
There was another little funny note in one of the little gossip items in New York Post, my favorite tabloid, about basically an assistant of Tony Blair's
That guy.
contacting.
Also rumored
Also rumored to be involved.
in the Epstein imbroglio. No.
So back when Epstein was in jail in Florida in 2008, Tony Blair's little assistant guy contacted Epstein and asked him to put him in touch with Jamie Dimon.
What?
Yes.
Jamie Dimon.
I've been waiting for Jamie Dimon's name to pop up because of all the financiers of the world. My man, Jamie Dimon, has been curiously absent from a lot of these stories.
Yeah, Mr. JP Morgan Chase guy, right? Oh, he was previously on the board of the directors of the Federal Reserve, which, as you know, our show is dedicated to ending.
Abolish the Fed. Hashtag
Absolutely.
abolish ICE. Hashtag abolish the
Yeah,
Fed.
abolish the Fed. No, we will get nowhere with abolishing ICE or women or any of the things that Bernie's political project is about unless we first abolish the Fed, which is why Andrew Yang needs to be president.
Anyway, so I thought that was very, I thought that was very interesting. And
Why are all these people, this is just everyone in Davos?
yeah, well, we're going to get into that in a little bit later.
We are.
But just going back through some of the news items, there was also this very weird story, which we haven't been able to corroborate, but I do love just, strange little things that could be true or could not be true.
So this is from a Christian Zionist website called Breaking Israel News, Latest News, Biblical Perspective.
Israel 365.
And the E in the Israel in the little header they have is a 3. So it's kind of like, it's like cyber Israel.
It's like a 2000s band.
There is like a 60% chance of this not being true, but it also could be true.
Yeah, so I just want to say, revealed top police official pursuing Netanyahu connected to Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my God.
And then it has a quote from Psalms, which, it's a little bit of a
They
strange
answer my
website.
love with accusation, but I am all prayer. That's just what Jeffrey Epstein said.
So as of 2015, 10 senior Israeli police officials were sent to study programs at Harvard University. The programs were funded by the Wexner Foundation. The Wexner Foundation was initially founded by billionaires. Okay, so we know all of this. The most prominent of the police officers to attend the, quote, educational seminar was head of the National Fraud Investigation Unit, Aaron Kamen. Kamen was in charge of investigating Sarah Netanyahu, the wife of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, on allegations of spending irregularities.
When you came in my life, my Sarah.
So I don't know if people know all about the kind of investigations into Netanyahu, of which there are many.
Yes.
In Israel, but
You gotta spend money to make money. Another quote I came up with.
yeah, but there's been multiple, corruption investigations involving him, his wife, his fail son.
Yeah.
Big fan of that kid.
Well, if you recall, when Epstein first was reemerged in the news, Yair Netanyahu posted a picture of Ehud Barak, Obama's brother.
No.
leaving Epstein's mansion.
Yes.
And of course, we've learned that Ehud Barak has I think his quote was like, "I've hung out with Epstein less than 100 times, but more than 10 times," which is a little. That
Quite
means
the
like
spread.
definitely more than 100 times.
Well, I just think it's so funny, and I really am into this idea of these kind of like warring interests in, taking down Netanyahu. These
Yeah.
people, just kind of warring different factions within the Israeli deep state,
Yeah.
if we can call it that.
Which, of course, is very intimately connected to the American deep state.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. This seems believable. I mean, I'm sure that they went to the Wexner Foundation, as we've discovered, is a very large foundation. And this mentions, too, this was the same foundation that paid former Israeli Prime Minister and Netanyahu rival Ehud Barak $2.3 million for research that was never published. Barak's response to the expose was that everything was carried out legally. I love saying that. Barak was also caught entering Epstein's house while a bevy of young women was entering and exiting as well.
So it includes the Attorney General, the head of the Air Force, the head of the IDF investigations arm, the deputy commander of Central District, and the head of the investigation division.
Oh, it seems like the guy who is the head of the investigation to find the lowest prices for household goods on the internet that also are made of the highest quality.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a funny story, but I like it. I like a funny story.
We have coming up some stories that are not so funny.
No. Real quick, we should mention that on Friday, we love a Friday news dump, as they call it in the biz. The FBI declassified its files on the Finders group. And now the Finders group was part of what kind of became known as the Satanic Panic of the late 80s, early 90s. And it was, allegedly a kind of possible child sex cult
ring. Yeah.
That
ring is the word that follows all of these cases
Yeah,
around.
that had ties to possible CIA ties, possible FBI ties.
The teachers' unions. I'm just kidding, just regular. I don't know if they're unionized.
And so we're going to actually do an episode going through these documents because they're pretty interesting. And included, which we had been tweeting about, included in these declassified tranche.
Yes, what was in the tranche, Liz? Liz Transac?
Was a copy of, or a map of the tunnels at McCarran Preschool in California.
McMartin Preschool?
McMartin Preschool, excuse me.
We gotta go.
No. Well, can you explain what the tunnels in McMartin Preschool were?
So, McMartin Preschool was where a bunch of kids sort of seemingly, the general consensus of that it was that they were at the behest of parents or whatever, saying that they were flushed down the toilet into secret tunnels where they were molested. Is that not the case?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was like, again, like an instance that was like part of
the satanic panic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there were kids that insisted that there were tunnels, and parents insisted that there were tunnels, and basically they were completely like, the media was like, this isn't true. This is just part of a moral panic. This is crazy.
Of course, the media, who are all themselves pedophile Satanists. So it's like, come on.
But so in these documents is a map detailing the different like tunnels and what they found there.
Yeah. So we're going to get into I love studying maps, and I will find out. I will be able to just tell by the contours of the lines just how satanic they are.
Yeah.
But it makes you think. Because, like you were saying, the whole satanic panic thing, like, is a panic, it's not real. Well, whether it's real or not, there's a reason it happened, right? And whether that reason is is because it was actually happening, and it was being called a panic to make everyone seem like, maybe we're just freaking out or whatever, or whether there was a bigger game afoot, like you're saying, with the intelligence agencies, we will find out.
Yeah. So a lot of our listeners have been asking for us to talk about Franklin Credit Union.
Yes.
Which is sort of related.
And it's a big topic, which we want to do justice. It's probably going to take at least a couple of episodes. I'm reading a book and a half kind of on it right now.
Yeah. So I would just I know we sometimes say this, like, we've got these episodes coming up, but stay tuned because we are really going to talk about this, but we really do want to do it justice.
Yeah.
Bernie, bitch. Bernie.
Okay.
Speaking of justice.
Speaking of Lady Justice.
She arrives on a white horse with a flaming sword and big ass titties.
That's the scale. It's on the scale. Wing.
Yeah, one titty is like really heavy and the other one is possibly airless or something.
They're always different sizes.
Yeah, one's... we'll stop here. We received a hot tip from a reader.
Yes.
Or a listener, rather. I guess we don't write things. That
I'm sure that this person reads.
Yeah. Oh, clearly.
They are well read.
So we don't want to give away their identity. We're going to read part of their message out. Senator George Mitchell, accused by Virginia Jeffrey of rape facilitated by Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, you guys remember that from the transcripts. Served as the president's special envoy for Middle East peace in the Bureau of Near Eastern Affairs from January 22nd, 2009 to May 20th, 2011. In this role, he was responsible for leading U.S. government engagement with Israeli-Palestinian issues.
Here, so this is the note continues. Here are some Epstein and Maxwell related facts that you, meaning me, Brace, and young Chomsky might find interesting.
Alex Maxwell Gerasi, who now works for Carnegie Endowment, was special assistant, later chief of staff, to the Assistant of State for Near Eastern Affairs from 2009-2012. He is the son of Isabel Maxwell and Dale Gerasi, whose father invented the birth control. That's Carl Gerasi. His role was to troubleshoot communications between the Career Bureau of Near Eastern Affairs Foreign Service officers and the Office of the Secretary of State. Now, who was the Secretary of State back then?
From 2009 to 2012? Mm-hmm. Let me just, type, Google, Wikipedia. Crooked Hillary!
It's Crooked fucking Hillary. He worked closely with Mitchell and the Office of the Special Envoy. Mitchell and
Stop
Gerasi,
saying it like-
can't stop saying envoy. Mitchell and Gerasi were the only two political appointees in the entire Bureau of Near Eastern Affairs during this period. At the time, rumor was that Secretary Clinton had handpicked Gerasi due to family ties.
Family ties.
Not
huh?
sure whether President Obama or Secretary Clinton facilitated Mitchell's appointment as envoy.
So we've got. Let's.
That is from
Oh yes. Dedicated TrueAnon listener,
the Baroness.
the Baroness.
Mila Kunis.
We're obscuring her identity.
By calling her the Baroness Mila Kunis.
It's actually Mila Kunis. She's the one who DM'd us.
Dude, we can't. I'm sorry, we can't do this again. I don't want to bring up. I got weird shit again.
Okay, wait. So, pause. Hold up. Let's just go back through this. This is what they're saying. So, Senator George Mitchell, we're going to talk about it in a second, was accused by Virginia Giuffre. He's named in
The transcripts.
Yeah, in the
We
transcripts.
actually have we have the
Along with Alan Dershowitz, Randy Andy, and others.
Jean-Luc Burnell, etc.
Yes. For some reason, George Mitchell's name has been kept out of the papers, but we'll get into that. He worked for President Barack Obama, special envoy to the Middle East peace process. So, George Mitchell and Alex Gerasi were the only two political appointees for the Bureau during this period.
That's pretty wild.
By Secretary Clinton.
Yeah.
Gerasi is the son of Ghislaine Maxwell's sister. So Ghislaine's nephew.
And the grandson of famous Israeli super spy Robert Maxwell.
Appointed by Crooked Hillary and overseen by the Obungler.
Yes.
Okay.
This is big.
Overseeing Israeli U.S. foreign policy.
Oh, a lot more than that. But yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is definitely it is big.
I do want to say one little last note that the Baroness left, which was very nice. She said, "You're tapping into something profoundly dark and wrong in our society, and I'm thankful for your work and sense of humor in engaging with the darkness." That's
We
very
love
nice.
you, the Baroness.
Thank you so much. But we are tapping into something very profoundly dark here. So, before we get to Alex Gerasi, who is George Mitchell and why are the papers not talking about him?
Well, who is he, baby?
He was not just former senator, but the Senate Majority Leader. He's a Democrat. Perhaps that's why he's not in the paper.
Ah.
The old
The
Democrats.
Democrat-run papers.
Yes. Lamestream media not covering the Democrats.
It's demon rats. Liz.
Well, they're kind of brats, too.
Yeah.
He was not. So he was Senate Majority Leader under President William.
Oh, Jefferson Clinton.
Yes.
Yeah, McKinney.
Billy Billerson Clinton. He was special envoy to the Northern Ireland peace process. He oversaw the Good Friday Agreement.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. They got to tear those up.
Well, if the Brexit happens, they might.
Bojo, if you're listening again.
Yeah, we're gonna restart the troubles. Okay, but not only that, Brace, get this.
What?
He was also appointed
Yeah.
vice chair
Oh, that doesn't sound that crazy.
of the 9/11 Commission.
What?
Yes.
You're yanking.
I am not. And he was floated. Get this. He was floated as being Al Gore's running mate in 2000.
Al Gore? He what?
Literally no one has ever said that before about Al Gore.
Al Gore. He
So this guy's high
he's
up.
in.
He's all up in. It's not just because also these, high up State Department, quote unquote, peace agreement officials.
Scumbags.
Well, okay, maybe, but also just, they are deep in it.
Oh yeah.
Not only that, but he was also named in a leaked letter
Mm-hmm.
as a part of the Lacerte meetings.
Wait, no.
Do you know about this group?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
So Lacerte, that is like deep state.
This
That
is like global deep state.
That is like if you want to picture the deep state, that's what you got.
Yeah, they're even, a lot of people talk about the Bilderberg Group as this kind of like boogeyman.
People are always talking about the Bilderberg Group.
They do.
They do. Yes, that's true.
But that's this kind of like boogeyman. And, well, wait, let me pause for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think that because of the Professor Doctor and all of his little troubles right now with this pesky little impeachment
He's got his
business,
own the troubles.
yes, is that quote deep state is like way more out in like the public discourse than usual. And there's this kind of idea, I think, particularly, or this is what I would think that in a lot of people's imagination, that they, it's sort of like these like different kind of warring factions between the NSA and the CIA and DOD, State Department, super high up intelligence people. And that's true. But like, let's go a couple tiers above that, because it's not just confined to with like the borders of the United States. So a group like Lacerte is supposedly, allegedly, all like a very, very small cohort of MI6, CIA,
Various political actors.
like incredibly secretive.
Yeah. It was started by, I believe, the French. It was like a French prime minister, one of those post-war right-wing prime ministers, and his like top spy.
Yeah. So people like Paul Wolfowitz, Paul Bremer, Donald Rumsfeld, Richard Pearl, these are the architects of the Iraq War. These were people said to be part of this group. Obviously, Mr. Kissinger.
Yes.
Big name.
Henry K.
But also, British Foreign Secretary Margaret Beckett, who has been rumored to be the one who was tasked with overseeing the subversion of Jeremy Corbyn and his leadership. These are really like dark global actors, is what I would say.
Yeah, and it is transnational.
Yeah, and so there was a leaked letter by one of the chairmen of Lacerte, and it says that whereas asking for someone to was inviting someone to a meeting in Morocco in 2012.
Okay, those who have addressed our group include John Bolton, Zbigniew Brzezinski, Benazir Bhutto, Mrs. Gandhi, who I also fucked, David Rockefeller, Justice Scalia, Donald Rumsfeld, John D. Negroponte, another familiar face from the Epstein universe.
Yeah, do we remember Negroponte?
MIT.
His brother.
His brother, but still. Norman Schwarzkopf. And who's that? That is the Right Honorable Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, so at meetings last year, we were privileged to hear talks from, amongst others, Senator George Mitchell, Dr. Henry Kissinger, Senator Chuck Hagel, and the Israeli Deputy Prime Minister. So basically, yeah, this is George Mitchell is way up
Dr.
there.
Deep State.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it is not surprising, like we were saying before, about Randy Andy getting thrown under the bus, very obviously, by the royal family. Alan, you've talked about how you thought Alan Dershowitz was also...
Getting thrown under.
He got cut loose. Got to fend for himself with his like, Me Too memoirs or whatever. But we have not heard anything about George Mitchell.
No, and it's one thing I want to mention too is that, we talked about Margaret Becker, right? Well, if you remember, this WikiSpooks reminded me of this when I was looking up on that. It was 2015. There were those articles floated that if Jeremy Corbyn were to become prime minister, the military would undertake a coup.
Yeah.
If he tried to leave NATO or stop the Trident program or anything that else they thought that would damage the country. And of course, their past sort of plans for a coup was they would seize Heathrow Airport, the BBC, and Buckingham Palace, and the Queen would read a statement urging the public to support the armed forces because the government was no longer able to keep it order.
Yeah, so just pause here for a second because I will say, one, previously on a podcast, I mentioned the threat that the Chamber of Commerce gave to Obama in the failing New York Times about whether or not if he were to ban dark money, they would Gaddafi him.
Yep.
But I also, if Bernard Sanders somehow manages to slit the throats of every Democratic Party official and get the nomination, I would not be surprised to see similar articles and things being floated were like an actual Sanders presidency to be a real possible threat.
As the old Arabic saying goes, sticking one's nose where it doesn't belong. He who interferes with what doesn't concern him finds what doesn't please him. Oof. That is, of course, when they threatened Canada with 9/11.
Yeah. So, these are very serious people. And, again, these are people that were on Epstein's island.
Mm-hmm. That Virginia Giuffre. Let me tell you what she says about our good friend here, George Mitchell. When she's being interviewed, name the other politically connected and financially powerful people that Ghislaine Maxwell told you to go have sex with. They instructed me to have sex with George Mitchell, Jean-Luc Brunel, Bill Richardson, another prince that I don't know his name. Which I've got some theories about that. We can talk about it another time.
Yeah. So we gotta, any of you blue check journalists listening, and I know there's a couple that do. Do your damn work. George Mitchell. Look him up.
Yeah.
Look him up.
Google him.
Do more than that. Do journalist Googling. Called journalism.
Yes.
Okay, so now, Brace, you're very excited about this. Talk to me about Alex Gerasi.
Gerasi? So Alex Gerasi is the grandson, first of all, of Carl Gerasi, who is the reason that you don't have to ever wear a condom under any circumstances ever. The inventor of the birth control pill.
He's the reason why all these poor women, their hair is falling out and they're going insane.
He's the reason why I got like 50 kids, but I don't have to take care of any of them. Wait,
what?
I would have 75 if it weren't for him. Carl was Austrian and I believe fled the Nazis, became a very famous scientist and a very wealthy scientist because women won't stop buying that pill because they won't stop fucking.
Love when scientists become wealthy. Always a good sign.
His son was a guy named Dale Gerasi, and check this out. When I was reading all this, looking this up, I was visiting my parents and I said, Dad, this guy looks like he was around in San Francisco during the 60s. My dad was a journalist back here back then. I was like, do you know a guy named Dale Gerasi? He's like, yeah, really nice guy. I knew him.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
my dad.
This is just going to further people thinking you're CIA.
Well, my dad knew. Yeah, I guess that's true. But it was a small town back then. Everyone did drugs.
Yeah.
But he knew him, I guess, in the late 60s, early 70s slightly. Anyways, Dale Gerasi, Carl Gerasi's son, married a foxy female named Isabel Maxwell.
Yeah, allegedly foxy.
Allegedly. Yeah, I'm alleging that she's foxy. Okay, no, we're not going to get sued here. Well, actually, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Isabel,
Maxwell,
who we talked about on the last podcast, or two podcasts ago.
Podcasts ago. Two free ones ago, I think. All right, I don't know, remember. Fucking look up the one where we talk about Isabel Maxwell. You got a computer.
Yeah.
So she, along with her sister Christine, were involved in what you might call deep state technologies.
Yes, early search engine capabilities, possibly intelligence software.
Digital panopticon things, etc.
Sure.
Yeah, FBI,
things of that nature.
Gilead. And so this union of Dale and Isabel, who Isabel, might I remind you, Ghislaine Maxwell's sister, I can't stress this enough, Robert Maxwell's fucking daughter had a kid. That kid is Alex Gerasi. Well, he grew up, it seems, rich, went to, I believe, Yale. And much like every other rich person in this country who went to Yale, I'm not going to say he became a pedophile. No, he worked for Hillary Clinton.
Crooked Hillary?
Yes. So I looked him up. The first thing I could find on him is he started donating to Hillary Clinton in 2005. He is 35 years old now, so how old would he have been back then? That was 14 years ago. Can't do this math. 21?
Yeah.
21-year-old donated to Hillary Clinton?
What, is that her Senate campaign?
Must have been, right?
I mean, first of all, also, by the way,
Five
Crooked
grand donation.
Hillary, that Senate campaign, she's running against like a dead body, by the way.
She ran against a dead body.
Basically.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the easiest campaign. So the idea of even giving her money for that, it's like, you don't even need it. It's
Yeah.
not a hard campaign. Also, everyone who's like, she's run so many successful campaigns. No, terrible politician.
Yeah, I do just want to mention his donations for a little bit, actually. He's donated to a bunch of people I've never fucking heard of. Of course, the ones that you keep popping up are the Hillary Victory Fund. He's donated like thousands and thousands and thousands of earwolf level monies to Hillary Clinton. But his two donations that are the most recent presidential ones are, guess,
Hillary.
Beto and Pete. So he's done with women.
Well, maybe, Mother Hillary might still get in the race.
Oh, yeah, it's true. And those could be her two catamites collecting votes for her.
Oh, my
that
God.
they'll
Mayor
later give to
Pete.
her. Oh, God.
That fucking asshole.
Love to get in there. Yeah, so he, Big Hill guy. He also is a signatory of, he worked on her 2008 presidential campaign.
Oh.
And he was a signatory of a letter sent to I think the New York Times, which the New York Times refused to print, and thus it made it newsworthy.
Wait, what letter?
So, to the editor, the unnamed advisors and aides the story relies on speak to nobody but themselves. It was obviously a story. It was in response to a headline, "Somber Clinton soldiers on as the horizon darkens."
This is like when it was very clear that Obama was going to be the nominee.
Yeah, check out this shit. The unnamed advisors and aides the story relies on speak for nobody but themselves. The rest of us, thousands of her supporters, friends, and members of her staff and volunteers, are working tirelessly each and every day and night because we believe in Hillary. We believe she will win the nomination. We believe she will win in November. And we know she will make the best president for the United. Blah, 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 blah. A bunch of bullshit. He signed the letter. Which
These people.
never put your name in print under something like that. Just pathetic.
Yeah. Ugh.
So, donated thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And guess what he finally, once Hillary Clinton gets her coronation in the State Department,
Ugh.
the second best, he becomes the Chief of Staff, Office of the Assistant Secretary of State for the Bureau of Near Eastern Affairs.
Yeah.
Serving right alongside George Mitchell. His tenure there was 2009 to 2012, which mirrored almost exactly Hillary Clinton's tenure there. And I know I'm saying this a bunch, but keep this in mind as I say everything that's coming up here. This man is the grandson of one of the most famous and decorated Israeli spies of all time. And the nephew of a woman who, by the way, is friends with Hillary Clinton, who dines alone with Bill Clinton, Ghislaine Maxwell, who, his co-worker, George Mitchell, was, Ghislaine Maxwell was facilitating the rapes that this man committed on young girls. These people are all within...
This is so disturbing and
spitting distance of
disgusting.
each
It's
other.
crazy.
As
and this
far as
was,
I can tell, nobody has covered this.
No, and this was literally just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
This is, talk about obungling. This is an obunglement of obungles.
Well, guess this, and now to add another layer into this, guess what organizations he was a part of? The Friends of Syria group. Now that, you might
Bryce,
sound...
that's you love them.
I am a friend of Syria. That sounds like That's something cool. Oh, Friends of Syria. They must be like trying to help the country recover.
Yeah, this land is your land.
Exactly. This really
land is
kumbaya
our
thing.
land.
They were trying to discover a Woody Guthrie or whatever, Pete Seeger type in Damascus.
For the Levant.
Yes. That is actually not the case of what happened. The Friends of Syria group was modeled on something called the Friends of Libya group.
Oh, God.
The Friends of Libya group is the organization that NATO, EU, and Gulf countries and a few African ones started to overthrow friend of the show, Muammar Gaddafi. Sorry,
Friends of Syria, I'm assuming, if it was modeled after Friends of Libya.
Yeah.
Now we know what these Friends of Libya did to the Libyan government.
Yes, we do.
Were the Friends of Syria attempting to do a similar friendly friendship with the lion himself?
Yes, absolutely. So actually, look at this article on the Libyan rebels seeking international recognition. The picture is of the Libyan contact group representatives, including Hillary Clinton and William Hague.
Oh, God.
From
Are you
5 minutes
serious?
ago when we were talking about Lacerte. That's crazy. It's a small world, man. So it's from their meeting in Istanbul in 2011 when our man Alex Jarasi and of course George Mitchell were working in the Department of Near Eastern Affairs. I have reason to believe that Jarasi was actually at this meeting, but this is basically where Clinton and the rest like fully supported the rebels in Libya.
Now, and just to be clear, when we say the rebels, we mean, fundamentalist forces trying to overthrow sovereign government.
Yeah, and like mafias, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Libyan rebels, this is from the Guardian.
Not good people.
Libyan rebels fighting to overthrow Muammar Gaddafi have won recognition as the country's legitimate authority from the entire international contact group coordinating policy on the crisis. Now, this is basically the same tactic they employed with Maduro, right?
Yeah.
Is that you recognize just some fucking schlubs. You're like, all right, you guys are the government now. And
then you just wait and see if the people respond.
Exactly. Or you just,
if the different military forces coalesce around the people that you want them to.
Exactly. So they did this, and it worked. They also promised them, of course, military aid, both direct and through supplies, etc.
So, to pause for a second, so we know where we're at.
Yeah.
Alex Jarasi, grandson of Robert Maxwell.
Yep.
Nephew to Ghislaine Maxwell, co-worker of George Mitchell, who raped Virginia Jeffrey alongside Jeffrey Epstein. Worked with Hillary Clinton and George Hague.
William
Hague, excuse me. Alongside William Hague on who is a member of Lacerte, the global deep state group.
Yep.
Worked on overthrowing the Libyan government and then attempted to do the same to the Syrian.
That is precisely correct.
Okay.
He was also a part of a little something that I like to call, in fact, I don't like to call it this at all, he likes to call, the United States Gulf GCC Strategic Coordination Forum. He was also a delegate or somebody who attended the U.S. Gulf Cooperation Council, which is like the regional thing, the Arab state regional thing. It's like a military thing, also political sort of union of the Gulf countries who are naturally, of course, friends to the worker. Qatar provides lots of jobs, including for many of our favorite journalists. By the way, if anybody's ever been paid by Qatar to give like woke takes on something, that person should be in prison.
Yeah.
That is a slave country. Not that ours isn't. I mean, if you've been paid by the U.S. government to do it too, you should also be in prison. So yeah, but back to the Friends of Syria for a second. This is from their conference in Istanbul, which I believe Mr. Jarasi either attended or prepped Hillary Clinton to attend. We believe geopolitical concerns, and this is from 2011, remember, and keep in mind after I say who's saying it. We believe geopolitical concerns and interests cannot rule a world. We refuse to take such a stand. We refuse to accept a situation where tanks are shooting women and children and men of all professions, Erdogan said. We also believe that the international community has a moral obligation to act. It is crucial that we speak with one voice. The message that we give the Syrian regime must be very exact, very precise. The bloodshed in Syria must stop. We demand that. Clinton adds, the Syrian government is staying true to form, unfortunately, making a deal and then refusing to implement it. As of today, regime forces continue to shell civilians, to lay siege to neighborhoods, and even target places of worship. That's great. A government does that? That is fucked up. Clinton has literally done exactly those things in the past year of her saying this.
Ugh, this is,
So, of course, he is mentioned, Gerasi is also mentioned in several WikiLeaks emails, but he's mostly just in sort of the CCs on him. I wasn't able to find any that actually like were to or from him specifically. But here's a little thing I found about the Friends of Syria also. They were, I remember this happening back then, but they were the people that were pushing for like total sanctions on Syria.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, we know sanctions like starve the people and make life pretty much unbearable for anyone in a country. And Mr. Gerasi was right at the fore of that. So Syria, not known for having the warmest relationship with Israel.
No.
And I'm not saying that Alex Gerasi is a deep cover Israeli spy in the State Department, because the State Department doesn't need Israeli spies.
No.
The State Department...
Yeah, this is the thing that a lot of our, like, Q brethren and the kind of, like, conspiracy-minded community kind of focus on is this idea of, like, Israeli spies, or that Israel is somehow, like...
tainting our pure politics.
Yeah, that they're, like, in the driver's seat here. And I think that that is completely misguided.
Absolutely. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, Israel serves as such a useful outpost for the United States.
And that's really what the entire state of Israel is.
Yeah. It's a forward
It's just
operating
an
base.
Intelligence outpost in the Middle East.
Yeah, outer haven for pedophiles. It is. Yeah, I mean, this goes back to Kissinger, and actually before Kissinger.
Yeah.
But Kissinger really got this kicked into high gear when he made all these deals around the Arab world, but really he was playing them off against each other so that Israel, the nation that has all these American arms because they serve as America's proxy, can grow. I mean, so Syria, of course, lost the Golan to Israel and has not received it back in many decades. I believe there's now, it's called like Trump. They officially annexed it. It was this year or last year?
Yeah, they officially did.
Yeah. And I don't think that Alex Gerasi, whose grandfather was like the motherfucker who supplied Israel's Air Force in its early days, who did just like helped steal the Promise software for them, who lured the Israeli nuclear whistleblower back to the embassy so he could be taken off for secret extradition, black site shit in Israel. I don't think that his grandson, that is not the first choice I would have for one of my two political appointees to the State Department of Near Eastern Affairs.
Well, you are not Crooked Hillary.
That's true.
So, again, like, we joke about the Clinton crime family. And, I do love calling her Crooked Hillary. Mm-hmm. And I do think that perhaps more people should adopt a lock her up stance.
Absolutely. That is a bipartisan thing we can get behind.
I think so.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, it's all funny and funny memes and stuff, but, like, this is real.
This is real.
Like, these ties exist, and they go up to, like, I mean, this is American, Western, global interests. Mm-hmm. And, Jeffrey Epstein's island is a window into this.
Yeah, it is the Israel of the Virgin Islands. It's I think that people need to understand this, because it's not like when we're talking about on the show, we're not just like, people, sometimes get mad when we don't just talk about Jeffrey Epstein or whatever. All of this stuff is connected.
Not in a, like, I mean, yes, it is. In a way that, like, all of these people have their hands in all of these different things.
Exactly.
That, run the world.
Yeah.
Whether it's in what we were talking about with, the energy companies and greenwashing a bunch of this like bullshit activism, or whether it's
Syrian civil war.
the Syrian civil war, or the Libyan war, or fucking transhuman digital scientism,
It's freezing your dick.
UFOs, or whether it's, the banking crisis and, these massive financial institutions.
It's all of these people, and it's not, and it's also, obviously these personalities are, big and at fault. But it's not just, it's like this is set up for these people. Like, this is their game.
Yeah. And we're all pawns.
Wow, damn. Well, you're my queen.
Aww.
Just kidding. You are a bishop.
Why?
Because you are wearing a conical hat, and I don't know how to move you.
Like Jurassic, the next generation.
I was just going to make that joke about Jurassic High. That's like all I could think of. And then I just kept thinking about Drake in his wheelchair.
I would love to put this guy in a wheelchair.
I never really watched Degrassi.
I think I watched like one season when I was younger.
I don't find Canadian culture to be very stimulating.
I find it to be incredibly stimulating, Liz. I haven't a clue what you're talking
Hey,
about.
I got another one. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
So now he works for something called Askmos.
Oh, we're still going?
Oh, we're still going. Yeah, I'm not done with Jurassic. He lives here.
In San
I looked
Francisco?
up his address.
Where?
And all his past addresses. And his phone numbers.
And?
Well, I'm not saying that on here. No, I'm not doing anything with it. I just want to see. I keep being like, man, I shouldn't harass this poor guy. This guy was in the Syrian
No,
fucking
more like
contact group.
Harassi.
He's in the fucking, Alex Harassi. You were in the fucking Libyan contact group. Like, you ruined so many goddamn people's lives. Beyond any of the fucking crazy pedophile shit that your family is sick with. So, now he works for doing student loan things.
Of course he does.
No, it's not. He doesn't. It appears, their website sucks and, doesn't work. But
Just
they,
like student loans.
help people find, FAFSA? I don't know what's
You
FAFSA?
don't know what the FAFSA is?
Oh, why would I know what FAFSA is?
Oh, it's just the federal aid form that you fill out in order to get your aid estimated by the government.
I never got any federal aid.
Okay.
Because I stand up for myself and didn't go to college.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
I have done about a
Brace.
year in community college, all told, since I was 18. But
Congratulations.
thank you. I have a 2.0 GPA because I kept dropping out to do heroin.
But look at you now.
Yeah. Now I just do heroin.
No.
I'm just kidding. So now he works for Askmos. He's a Beto and Pete guy, and of course just lives, I guess, off his fab. He's a coder. He learned to code.
Ugh. Well, when you can't, take down a regime, learn to code.
One last thing, though. He did have a job which you also had, Liz.
Wait,
And you
I'm
haven't
like a
told our
little.
listeners about this. He was on the Clinton-Kane transition team.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something actually about my life.
No,
and I was like,
we're keeping that. No, nobody
it's
has
true.
to know.
I was on the Clinton-Kane transition team.
Yeah. He was on the Clinton-Kane Kane family.
The Clinton crime Kane. Tim Kaine.
It seems like that's much like Syria, another one of his jobs that didn't go so well.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say the Syria thing probably went pretty well for them. But that he lost that fucking job, and then looks like Alex Harassi retired, bitch.
Well, this guy sucks.
Yeah, my dick.
Vote for Bernie. Vote for Bernie. I do wanna vote for Bernie. Vote for Bernie. Vote for Bernie.
Healthcare is a human life.
I want to know how many other grandchildren there are.
Yeah, so let's spend this next week looking up every single member of this family.
It is really crazy. And I think that, like I said, some real journalists, not just us gonzos, not us Twitter fingers,
Yeah.
need to really take a look into this George Mitchell.
Yeah. This character needs
Why
to go
has he
down.
not? Yeah. Why has he not been in the papers?
And why has nobody... People should ask Virginia Giuffre about it, too.
Yeah.
She seems really open. And actually, maybe we should
Yeah.
ask her
Ask
about
your
it.
local blue checks.
I'm always afraid to ask people about stuff because our name is TrueAnon.
Why? I think it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, I think it's cool, but they might be like, are they QAnon people? Which,
No, because we're TrueAnon.
Yeah, I guess
it's
that's
different.
True. Yeah, it does the different word. Thank you so much.
To our friends of Syria, we thank you. We hear you.
To our friends of Libya, you are valid.
To our friends of TrueAnon,
You are canceled.
thanks so much, you guys. We'll keep you posted on this stuff.
My name is Department of Bureau of Small Dick Affairs, Brace Belden, Chief of Staff.
I'm Liz.
And we have here Muammar Gaddafi, Young Chomsky, our producer.
Yeah, and we're going to keep going. So we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
There it is, music to my ear.
Jeffrey Epstein.